Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. It's the new year. It is the first episode of Career Catalyst Live of the new year. As you can tell, I'm back in my actual office. I tried to be a little creative while I was traveling because I wanted my room. I wanted to feel comfortable in my room. I wanted to feel that same attitude that I have in my room. So I brought the room with me. But now, as you can see, I'm really back now. Um, and this week, since this is the first one of the year, I want to talk about something that I kind of realized I needed to talk about while I was traveling for the holidays. And y'all know, if you've paid any attention to me, half of what I talk about is um, work, experience related, and the other half is based on what I see in day to day life, right? And I merge those two to give you strategies for your job search. If you don't know who I am by now, I'm so sorry to hear that because you've really been missing out. I'm Angela M. Zachary. I'm the owner and job search strategist at the Inside Track Career Services. And I very simply teach professionals how to simplify their job search. I make it simple using these HR strategies that I've learned over 16 years in HR. Um, Strategies that you're probably not going to hear from anybody at your job in HR because they're not going to tell you, or anybody who actually does career coaching because they probably don't know. So this week, I'm going to get into this week's topic. If you come in and say hello, this week's topic is from, like I said, from when I was traveling for the holidays. And I'll just give you the backstory. If you haven't seen my LinkedIn article today, go ahead and look because that's where you're going to find that backstory. But I was traveling and my husband turned on a movie on the screen on the plane. It was Remember the Titans. Now, we love Remember the Titans. And since I'm not one to waste resources, I just watched it on his screen. And it got to the part where the co captains are arguing after they've just gotten into a big fight. And Julius, one of the co captains, says attitude reflects leadership. And while I'm reciting the lines because I watched it so much, it clicked. Oh, attitude reflects leadership. That's a word. So I wanted to bring that to you all from the viewpoint of someone who's a job seeker, because attitude in your job search does reflect leadership. So what's the first attitude? There are four attitudes that I believe you need to have throughout your job search from start to finish and even beyond, honestly, if you ever want to have a strong career. So the first one is going to be, oh, shoot, excuse me, I need some water. The first one is, let me look them up because I wrote them. And now I'm drawing a blank. I'm so sorry, you all. But in reality, if you don't have these strategies or these approaches to your job search, you're going to be kind of lost almost all the time in your job search because you don't know what to do. You don't know um, kind of how to move through your job search. And a lot of times I see folks who are kind of moving through their job searches. Number one, however, they see somebody tell them to on LinkedIn, or maybe in just this way that is driven by fear, right? You're not able to pick up the pieces. You're not able to shift or adapt, and that's going to be an issue in your job search if you want to actually make it through your job search. I know a lot of times folks think they need someone to tell them what to do at every step, but that's not an appropriate strategy for your job search, especially for your career. So, all right, now that I've got my head back on straight, um, the first attitude that you need to approach your job search with is confidence. Confidence. You see how I shifted from forgetting what I wanted to say and suddenly came back? Confidence. You're going to need that in your job search, and every step of your job search, including your interviews. And the reason is because um, how confident you are is going to align with how confident the folks who are talking to you are. If you go into a job interview and you're not sure, even if you trip up in what you're saying, if you aren't sure how to express your experience or express your knowledge or your value, they won't understand your knowledge or your value either, and they won't put that weight on it that they should. Um, and so, how do you even get this confidence? How do you, even if you don't fully have the confidence, how do you bring it to your job search? And one of the best ways to do that is to actually understand what your impact is and what your value is. I see a lot of job seekers who they know they've done the job. They'll look at their job descriptions, excuse me, and say, okay, here's the job that I did. Here's the duties or tasks that I did. But that does not tell your impact. And it's not just about what you put on your resume and say, oh, here are some impact statements because this is how you write resumes. We all know that, right? It's so that you understand what your impact is so you can walk in that process with confidence as opposed to being unsure about what you actually bring to the table. Is so important because, again, they're looking for you to tell them why they need you. And if you don't have the confidence backed by knowledge of your impact, you're not going to be able to do that. Number two, the second attitude you're going to need in your job search is authority. You are not going to be able to just confidence your way into authority, right? You're going to have some proven expertise, some proven knowledge. Even if you're entry level, you're going to have some proven ability to do the work or to solve the problems that this employer has. And if you don't, you are not going to be able to present yourself with authority. Here's an example that I last year, so 2024, because that's last year now. I was scrolling on Facebook as we often do, and I saw a post, someone saying, as an HR professional, this is how I recommend that you do your resumes, right? And it said, as an HR professional. As an HR professional myself, one thing I'm always going to do is verify, right? I'm just going to see who's this person, who's an HR professional. One, because I want to understand where their expertise comes from. And number two, I want to see who they are. I'm a little nosy, right? That's why I work in HR. So I look this person up and I find that they have 6 months of experience as an entry-level HR associate, right? 6 months. And that's not 6 current months, it's 6 months in the past. So that means that they were an entry-level HR professional for 6 months, and then they moved on to something else after those 6 months. And so this is not to knock their role. Like I said before, I have no issue with small beginnings because that's how you build a career that is long lasting, right? But to be an authority, you've got to have proven expertise in a subject matter, not opinions about a subject matter that are not based on proven expertise. And so if you do not have that, there are two things you've got to consider. One, is the job level that I'm looking for actually appropriate for the level of authority I have in this subject matter? If I'm trying to be a director, but I have a year of experience, I'm unlikely to be able to do that role or to even present myself as someone who can because I don't have the proven expertise. And then number two, if you find that you do not have the authority that is backed by proven expertise, upskill. Get the skills you need to be able to come into that job search process or into the hiring process with authority. Because if you come into it with authority, which also lends itself to confidence, you're going to find that they understand it, or your hiring manager or recruiter are going to understand better how you can bring value to the team. Because one thing they all want is somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Okay, so the third attitude is adaptability. You got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to shift at a moment's notice, and not get tied to one type of approach or one type of job, one type of company. This is not the job market for stubbornness. This is not the job market for someone to be so attached to one thing, hey, Erica, that they can't adjust or shift. You've got to be willing to adapt. Case in point, I talked to a job seeker who was adamant about moving into a specific sector. And I know that in this sector, they're laying people off all the time in this specific type of job. And so will that person be attached to that job, or will they find a way to shift to make their skills align with whatever job they are pursuing? Because the last thing you want to do is be so attached to a type of job that you ignore the signals in the market that say you should move on from it. Right. So be adaptable in your job search. You'll go much farther. And then the fourth is readiness. Be ye also ready. You always have to be ready. And when I say ready, yes, I mean ready to make changes, but I really mean ready for opportunities. I see it all the time where job seekers will say, "Hey, Angela, I want to apply for a job." And oh, yes, it's been open for a week and I don't have a resume. It's been open for a week. That means maybe you have another week or two to apply. Um, if you could do your resume yourself, that would be awesome. But if you can't, you've got to always be ready for those opportunities. And honestly, for those challenges that come with working for employers, right? Layoffs or hours being changed, anything, or return to office mandates. You have to be prepared for the challenges and for the opportunities. And so if you don't have your job search strategy lined up, if you don't have your resume lined up, if your LinkedIn profile looks like a ghost town, you're not going to be ready for these opportunities or these challenges that happen. And so if your attitude is to wait, to deal with it when you get there, or cross that bridge when you get to it, you will find that the bridge ain't there because you've got to be ready to jump on opportunities as they come. That is the nature of job searching these days. And quite frankly, I feel like it always has been. Opportunities are not waiting for you. You either catch them when they come, or you wait for however long it takes for it to come back around again, which I don't advise you do. So those are the four. I'll go back through them. Confidence, authority, adaptability, and readiness. If you are not approaching your job search with these four mindsets, these four attitudes, then you need an attitude adjustment. You need to change the way you're looking at your job search. And that hopefully for you will start today. It's part mindset, part action, right? So get your mind right, focus on your job search from these four attitudes, from these four lenses, and then do the work that it takes, right? Make sure you understand what your impacts have been. Make sure you are able to present yourself as an authority in the subject matter that you work in, and honestly present yourself as an authority. Make sure you are willing to shift and change as markets change or as trends change, and really that requires you to pay attention to those things. And then just make sure you're ready. If you don't have your job, your resume together, get it together. I don't care if you work with a resume writer or not, get it together, because what I want for you more is for you to be able to pursue opportunities that you want, as opposed to, having that feeling we all get when we miss a chance and we don't know when it's going to come back again. So yes, take those strategies, apply them tonight so that you can be prepared for a simplified job search. If you want more information about what a simplified job search looks like from the lens of somebody who analyzes jobs and people who do jobs all day, day in and out, and then the compensation that comes with those roles, I am again doing an info session this weekend at 3 p.m., Saturday at 3 p.m. And I'm going to walk you through what that even looks like. I'm going to tell you what the systems are that make these strategies work, and I'm going to tell you how to implement them. And that'll be, again, this Saturday at 3 p.m. And I'm going to put the link in there for you to register, but I will see you there. Have a good night. If you have any questions about job searching in general, that's going to be the best time to ask. You can also ask in these live sessions that I do every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I'll see you Saturday and then on Monday. All right, take care. Bye-bye.